Okay, so we had a 2-week break for the Christmas and New Year, and right now, despite it's still Christmas in Ukraine, we are back on Adobe Stock Integration and back with our public meetings. I was missing you guys, and I can't wait to see some demos of whatever you're working on or have recently done.
Yeah, I can start.
Go ahead, Alex.
Okay, but before I will start, I want to say that we have some delay in the connection, so sorry if I will interrupt you and just need to interrupt me. Okay, so let me share my screen. Do you see it? Or can you see it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, nice. So today I returned to the contribution process, and I'm really happy. I miss it so much. And today I finalized some change requests for this pull request where I provide comments for the Adobe Stock Asset module. And along with those changes, I also worked on static test and unit test fixes for the Media Gallery UI module. As I know, Sergey merged this functionality to the test process, right? And we faced with some issues. I fixed them, and currently I'm waiting for the test result report. And yep, we'll continue on this pull request. After it, I have another interesting issue where we plan to add a special button to run the image file reindex. So hope I will present it next week. And yep, maybe that's all from me. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Alex, and thank you for fixing the tests. It appears we didn't have the Media Gallery, the new modules for Media Gallery in scope of test build. They were not copied to test instance. So I fixed it yesterday, and we had some test failures that looks like Alex fixed. Thanks for that.
Yeah,
and
yeah. Let's wait for the build and let's see what we have.
And actually, as part of that infrastructure update that I did, I also added the Jasmine tests to the scope of our builds. So they are now executed as part of unit tests build of Magento. And there is already a pull request with Jasmine tests, with the first Jasmine JavaScript test in our project created by Shankar. But he's not on the call right now. I think Phil have reviewed that pull request in details, and as I know, Phil is very good with his Jasmine tests. Would you like to share
You flatter me, Sergey.
Some of your knowledge with us, or just
Sure. Yeah. Too bad Shankar is not on the call. I wanted to thank him for taking that pull request online and taking a first stab at those tests. It's really good. I mean, maybe I'm not sure if this is helpful for people here, but some of the general or in general, the principles in unit testing applies also in Jasmine tests and JavaScript unit testing. And I know it can get a little confusing, especially in JavaScript land, since JavaScript can be tested functionally, it can be tested with unit tests, and you almost always need to mock or stub things in JavaScript tests since things are generally quite interconnected. But just a general, like, one thing that came out of the review with Shankar's pull request was um, stubbing the methods under test, which is a bit of an anti-pattern, since you're essentially preventing the function that you're trying to test to being executed by stubbing it away, by putting your own mock or your own spy on top of that method. So if you end up doing that in your unit tests, probably just like in PHP land, in JavaScript land, that's not helpful since you're not ending up exercising the function you want to test. So that was
What
kind of
framework?
It's Jasmine was the testing framework that's used. What else in there? That's kind of it. I think I was hoping Shankar would be here, but I think we can actually use that pull request as a kind of, once we finish the review and the pull request gets merged, I think that's a good review and conversation to look at, to kind of learn about how did that process go through to go from a situation of over-mocking, over-stubbing, which is super common when writing unit tests in JavaScript land, I find, on many different projects, to something that's a little bit more practical and actually provides value. So something maybe we'll share post-review in upcoming meetings. I think that's it.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we have lots of JavaScript involved in our Adobe Stock Integration implementation, and we are going to have much more with Media Gallery. So we definitely should be utilizing the JavaScript testing frameworks and write Jasmine tests. Ideally, it would be good to cover all the components we introduced with Jasmine tests. So just pay attention. That is the last pull request right now in the queue. Take a look on how the test looks like, and maybe if you would like to try it, it will be great if you will take a method or a component to cover with Jasmine tests from any method, any component from our repository. Good. Anybody else would like to demo anything? Show the pull request.
I don't have a pull request on the project, but if anyone's curious, I could show off the latest merchant documentation.
Oh, yes, please.
I'm curious.
All right, let's take a look. Green. Okay, hopefully y'all can see that. So this is the open source version of the docs, but they're all the same across all three editions. Let's see, where should I start? Let's see if I remember where this stuff is. I should have prepared this presentation better. I'm gonna blindly poke around a little bit. Okay, right. So I think the main entry point for usage documentation, or like description, the high-level stuff, is under the media storage merchant documentation. Under here, so far, we've added a section about the Adobe Stock Integration. This entry page talks about prerequisites and how to install it. Yeah, like I mentioned, there's prerequisites, and for integrating Magento and Adobe Stock, we talk about how to create the integration on Adobe I/O, and also how to configure the integration.
Cool.
Configure the integration on within the Magento settings panel. So these are kind of just the installation.
Which recommendation? Which integration type would recommend?
I don't think we cover that.
Creative is the key. Yeah, it's there.
So
Oh, you mean on
do we
Adobe I/O?
Yeah.
We say
No,
the
it's
Creative
SDK.
SDK. Awesome.
Yeah, and we explicitly call out do not use the Adobe Stock one because that was a little bit confusing for folks, but yeah, we're hoping that this is something we can document.
Do we need to explain why we don't recommend to use Adobe Stock? Because it's kind of, I believe, what people expect to use, right, based on the name.
If you want something, I could give you a little blurb, but that you could put there. But I mean, it's not like it's more. I think it's sort of more important to us than it is to them.
I agree.
And if you're just implementing this for you and your company, I don't think you really care. This is more a concern for developing on behalf of someone else. But anyway, yeah.
I mean,
if you want to fill something in, I could put some. If you want to put something there, I could give you some text, but I don't think it'll really sway anybody either way.
Just one sentence, because we kind of mentioned don't use, and without explanation, it sounds like really like half of the sentence to me.
Is this documentation only available through installation, or is there an online version of it somewhere, or is it not live yet?
It's online. It's online version available to everyone.
Oh, okay.
It's not public yet, so it'll end up on docs.magento.com, but it's not there yet. In the meantime, there's an internal URL available for Adobe employees to check out, or you can, for contributors and other open source developers, you can pull down the merch docs repository and build the branch yourself, just like I'm doing here.
But after the release, it's gonna be fully public documentation.
That's correct, yeah. And so, I mean, from now until the release, we can tweak this as much as we want.
All right, I'll send you a message through Adobe Slack to get the internal link. We can.
Okay, that sounds good.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, so that's more of the setup bits. We also wrote up a usage guide. So we describe how to access the stock grid. You can do so from several different pages. So we describe where to access those from in this first section.
Do we call out explicitly that merchants are responsible for creating Adobe Stock ID themselves?
Adobe Stock ID, you mean like an Adobe IMS account?
Yeah. So they would need that to license the image, and they need to create it themselves.
We call it out under the prerequisites.
Okay.
Just that in order to license Adobe Stock Images, a paid plan is also required. That's as much as I described.
I would add that kind of you would need to use your own. I mean, the way how to phrase it is up to you, but like you need to use your own Adobe ID with that integration. And maybe if you don't have one, like link to where to create the ID.
Okay.
Because I assume that would be like lots of questions about that.
Okay. We'll take note on this and make an update. Use your own Adobe account to license images and docs. Corrects. Okay. All right. Noted. Thanks, Elena. So moving right along, other than how to access the Adobe Stock Search Grid from within Magento, there's a larger section about how to filter and search for things by keywords, for example. Also, we describe the various filters available, category orientation, etc. Viewing image details, like diving into the expanded image preview box and what image data is available. Yeah, here I guess we also talk about logging into Adobe IMS. So this might be related a little bit to your question, Elena.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe worth linking to this section from the prerequisites page.
And where the link navigates? Like this sign.
Yeah, where's that go?
That goes to HelpX. Let's see. I'll let that load. Here. I wrote this before the break, so I'm kind of looking at this with fresh eyes again for the first time in a while. Right, so here we're just describing that, okay, once you sign in, then the license state shows up in the grid.
I think we have a more friendly name than Adobe IMS too.
Okay.
I have to look it up. I'd asked someone and they said, oh yeah, we call it this now. IMS is so like technical, internal Adobe, like, who cares?
Right. Yeah, I guess on this HelpX page, it says just my Adobe account. So
yeah,
simplify
that's probably as good as any.
Okay. Docs. Let's just say Adobe account. Okay. So yeah, anyways, the link that y'all asked for, this is it. Using sign into your Adobe account and common sign-in issues. I don't know. This was like generic entry point for accessing Adobe ID.
Mm-hmm.
There's better stuff to link to. Let me know. Happy to update the link.
Looks good to me.
Okay, cool. All right. What else in the usage guide? I mean, these are the two main pages. So we talk about the license state, saving images to the media storage, so you can save previews. You can license and save the image as well. Little call out here about Adobe Stock credits in order to license the image.
Do we cover the use case in the documentation for the process to license the image saved as a preview to the media gallery and potentially used somewhere in the content as a preview?
So like going from a saved image preview to licensing that image. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, so as a user, I downloaded a preview of the image, used that in the content, and it looks good, so I'm ready to license it. So how I can do it?
Yeah, I don't think I wrote instructions on that.
Because essentially, they would need to find that image once again, using
Right.
Adobe Stock ID.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Okay.
So it's kind of a temporary workaround until we deliver the phase 3, but this is what it is for now. And I don't think it's quite obvious. That's why I would prefer to have some paragraph on that.
Okay. I will add that to the to-dos. So, like, do you envision it as a section here within the save images to the media storage section that I have
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
screen share? Okay.
Yeah, just another paragraph. Maybe also mention that, you know, if we ever mention that, it's kind of an interim solution.
Okay. I'll make a note of that. And so, document how to license a save. Alrighty. So those were the two main articles we added. We updated a lot of pages as well within the existing merchant documentation. Like on when you in this section about using the what you see is what you get editor, like the rich text editor. There was an existing article about how to insert images with this. So here in the intro blurb we mention, okay, here are the various methods that you can insert an image, either one that you upload yourself to media storage. There was existing like linking to other media servers, or we also now added use the Adobe Stock Integration to search for and use assets.
Nice.
And we added this, like before we only had two methods, so we added a little blurb here at the bottom that you can use this, and to check out how to do it, go over here and read the usage guide.
Nice. Yeah, looks good. So, guys, do you know if the bug with the navigation bar in the media gallery, so like all of the buttons are shifted left, is fixed in the release? Can you scroll up a bit? So you see on the screenshot, all of the buttons in the navigation bar is kind of shifted, so it's not the normal state, it's rather a bug. I don't know if we fix that, but by we I mean like regression effort entirely. Did you see it fixed?
I don't think we have this bug reported even.
Really?
Yeah, because
wow.
I don't think we
so
notice that there is incorrect state of buttons on the media gallery. You mean it should be aligned to the right side?
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's fixed.
Like all of the buttons on the media on the navigation bar. Okay. Yeah, so that's kind of incorrect state, and we have it on the screenshot.
Well, when we fix the bug, I can update the screenshots. That's no problem. But I have a feeling that we're going to, like, we're past code freeze now, so I don't think we'll be able to get that fix into this upcoming release, the 1.0 release, unfortunately. Correct me if I'm wrong, Serhi.
I think this is Magento bug, not Adobe Stock Integration bug.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Well, yeah, 234 is, we have the, like, we are very late into the release, so I don't think we can add the fix to the 2.3.4 version and related Adobe Stock Integration version.
Okay.
Any more fixes there? Yeah, but we'll open an issue for that and probably fix for next versions.
Okay.
Yeah, well then we'll probably have to do a pass through the documentation and update all screenshots after that. Mental notes.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Well, I think that's all I wanted to
I
share.
remember that last time we released Magento with double asterisk for all of the required fields, and it stayed for a while like that. And yeah, it was super annoying, but it was a P3 bug, so no one was fixing it until someone just gets so annoyed, so it was fixed.
Annoyance-driven development. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it for me. I appreciate the feedback. That's really good to do's. And yeah, I'll tackle those this week.
Yeah, thank you. That's great documentation. Happy to see that.
Yeah.
The only other
Thanks,
thing I'll
Phil.
share about the docs is that I believe next steps that I heard was, I think next week sometime, the marketing team is going to be reviewing these documentations and putting together some manner of materials based on this. And I think end of next week, this will be merged into the Merch Docs mainline, which at that point it will automatically go out.
Awesome.
This week and next week to add any changes we want for the documentation before it's live. Happy to assist with that if anyone has questions or wants to get some changes in.
Thanks, Phil. Yeah, the documentation looks awesome. There is a question in the chat from Alex about the fix. Can we deliver the fix for that bug with the new patch flow for the Magento? Alex, what do you mean by the new patch flow? Okay, I don't actually understand the question, but I can answer you in Slack after the call. One thing that I wanted to show is the pull request by Nazar, who is not on the call right now, but he delivered a really nice update for the new media gallery, the UI update. So I'm sharing my screen right now. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you remember, recently we had the same interface for media gallery as we have for Adobe Stock Integration, the same images appearance, but after the Nazar's pull request was merged, right now we have the new appearance that where all images are represented in square format, and we also show the name, the type of the image, the resolution, and a small stock icon for the images that were downloaded from Adobe Stock.
And is this grid available on a separate page somewhere?
Yes, right now we are developing the media gallery on the temporary page.
Okay.
the media gallery development menu item was added to Magento admin panel. Development is going on here right now. Meanwhile, I'm still researching the best approach on combining the ability to have the old and new media galleries together with the minimal impact on the functionalities.
Awesome.
On Magento.
The new experience looks just, amazing.
Yes.
So you have some sort of metadata associated with downloaded images to know they came from stock, obviously, to show that little icon.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. We are saving the data of images when they're downloaded from stock. We are saving the file and we are saving the data like keywords, title, creator category in the database. So basically, if we have the record for the image in the database, we are adding the stock icon.
And do you have is there any way to distinguish preview images from licensed images? Or
right now we are not we are storing that information in database as well. Right now we are not we have not yet added it to the interface, but according to design we will have as unlicensed and unlicensed overlay label for the unlicensed images, so that merchant will know what still needs to be licensed.
Right. I mean, obviously, if it comes with a watermark, that's one way to know, but it's good if there's some other indicator that it can quickly look at.
But with the small preview, there is no watermark.
Yeah. Well, depending if right.
So we are just adding this label that Sergey shows.
Yep. Oh, that's good. It's very obvious.
Yeah, and that's going to be possible to license the image directly from the media gallery.
Yeah, I saw there was a little option to license. Where would that take them to? Do you know? Take some. Oh, I see. Okay, cool.
Yeah, pop up straight away from the media gallery. Okay, so that's it. Any other questions or things to share? Good. Then thanks everybody for participating. Thanks for contributing, and see you on the next public meeting.
All right.
Thanks, y'all. Happy New Year again.
Bye.
You too. Bye.